Hey there, I'm Brian Nelson Palmer with Productivity Gladiator, and this is the session on 11 ways normal office workers can use AI. Use like examples like Bard or Chat GPT, and you can use them right now to be more productive. I normally work with project managers, but this is one of those things that kind of goes across all levels and all different employees. So most office workers can probably benefit from this. So I wanted to share these because I've had this discussion a lot in the last weeks and months ever since Chat GPT came out. So I just wanted to share it with you right now, just so you could see it too. So I'm going to share my screen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to share the 11 ideas, and I'm actually going to show them to you in action so you can actually see what I'm talking about as well. So you should see, if you don't see this, my screen with the workers, let me know, Jason or Alicia or somebody on the line, let me know if you can't see it. But otherwise, you should see my little sheet here. So we'll talk about this. And I'm recording. So first, why do I talk about this? I use Chat GPT and Bard pretty regularly all throughout the day at this point because they are very helpful tools. And I was having this conversation with a couple of office workers in some people I was working with a couple of weeks ago, and they said, "Oh, well, this isn't relevant to what I do." And in my head, I thought, "Oh my gosh, you're a project manager." Whoa, I was so shocked. So I shared these ideas with them, and they started to understand how these tools could work. So that's what I want to pay these forward to you as well. And also, before we begin, know this up front, right? This is important. First of all, AI can get it wrong, and it can get it wrong a lot. So I'm going to show you the examples so you can see how this works for the examples I do, but don't just blindly trust information that AI gives you. Treat AI as like a place to start. Basically, I look at AI as a way to get me 80% of the way there. And it can go ahead and do 80% of it, which is great. I need to do the last 20 in order for it to be mine. So I treat it like a teammate, but I don't ever just blindly trust what it says. Also, if AI will help you be able to do more with the time that you have, what you do with the bandwidth that this might free up is important. So here's my request. I teach life balance. So if this makes you more efficient or more productive, please don't just use these tools as a way to just do more regular work. Think about, with the bandwidth that this frees up, what you can do with it that can be more meaningful or more fulfilling for you. Is it a growth opportunity? Does it give you time to take a course? Does it help you get time with your family? Whatever that is, think about that. Don't just do more work, please. And then the last thing is I equate AI to be another skill you need to learn. Over the years, you've heard like typing was a skill. And at one point, gosh, people used to put on their resume how many words per minute they used to type, right? And now typing's taken for granted as a skill. Using Microsoft Word or Microsoft Office used to be something that you put on your resume. And now it's kind of assumed. AI is going to be one of those tools. I equate this as something that you should absolutely know how to use. So I'm sharing this with you because it's going to be really beneficial if you've used it a few times, so that when you have conversations about it in the workplace or with bosses or with employers or clients or whoever, the stories you share can be the stories that start with like, yes, I used it for this, or just the other day, I tried this with it, as opposed to stories where you're like, oh, I heard somebody say something about. It's more meaningful when you have that experience yourself. So please do jump in and try it for yourself and see what this is. Also, this is my disclaimer, which is these are only meant to be ideas for you to consider. So these are not instructions on what you should or should not do. So I'm not liable for the results that AI produces. And so don't take these as instructions on what you should do. These are just ideas to get you thinking. So here's the 11 ways. I'm going to show Chat GPT, and I have Bard, and I've got the links right here, and I'll keep them in the video notes. So I'm going to put this video on YouTube so you could share it as well. So here's the first one: creating meeting summaries and action items. I happen to find this link over here that's like sample meeting transcript. So if you wanted to do this, there's a sample agenda. You can see this is basically a transcript of this meeting of the council. And it's just an example here, but I'm just going to basically copy the transcript. If you've ever used Zoom or any of these Teams or any of these other platforms, they generally record and they have auto-generated transcripts. So I'm just going to copy those, and I'm going to jump over here to Bard, and I'm going to say, please provide action items and a meeting summary from this meeting. And then I paste in that text. Oh, I thought I copied it. 1 second. Let me copy that again. Here's the meeting. There's the copy. Now there's the paste. You can just paste it in and you hit enter. And now it's going to do its quick thinking real quick. And then at the bottom, you can see, here you go, action items. This is what was done. It approved this, withdraw this money to sell property to a nearby airport. So these are action items, and this is the meeting summary. The meeting was called to order by Chairman Worsley. The agenda was approved. So you can see AI does this, and there's other announcements. It gives you the highlights. So you'd have to vet these. You might have to edit them a little bit, but if your job is to come up with meeting summaries, or you just had an hour meeting and now you need to sift through and find the action items for the team members, you could take that transcript, copy it in, and get those action items and send them out via email, or keep track of them in your to-do list or whatever it is. So there's your first one, meeting summaries and action items. Next, number 2, research historical information. This is one that I found really interesting, which is, who was the highest paid NBA player in 2001? This is one where I'm going to actually show you where some of them are a little different. So here's Bard. I'm going to ask Bard that question. Bard is the Google product. ChatGPT is the original. It's by OpenAI. They both work in much the same way. So you're watching me use them in the same way. So I asked, who was the highest NBA player in 2001? Bard says Kevin Garnett. Here's his information. If I ask ChatGPT this same question, who was the highest paid NBA player in 2001? Oh, you can see it says Kevin Garnett, and it showed he earned a salary of 19.6. This one said he earned 22.4 for that. He played for the Timberwolves. So you can see that the information you get from them is a little inconsistent. Now, one of the things that I've started doing with AI is I've asked it to provide a link where I can find this information, right? Because now I want to know, can the AI actually help me find this information? So if I ask Bard to do that, one of the things I noticed with Bard, let's see if it does it for me today. Sure, here's links where you can find this information, and it actually finds web pages where you can find this information. So that's handy. That's helpful, because now you can go to this link and you can vet the information that it just told you. So it's helpful to have a source. When I ask ChatGPT this question, what ChatGPT generally does, it says, I apologize for the inconvenience, but I don't have direct access to the internet. So basically it says, I can't provide you a link. So that's one of the things I've noticed about ChatGPT. They both have their little nuances. I have one that I use for some things, one that I use for others, or if I ever try something on one and it won't do it, I flip over and I try it on the other tool. So that's information right there, so that it will help you research historical information like this, which is wonderful. Number 3, compose complex Excel formulas. I don't know about you, but when I get into Excel, if I've got I need to come up with the formula, I can't always remember the syntax for the formulas in Excel. And so you might have heard people talk about how coding is really helpful. It can help you write computer code. And that's great for people who write computer code. But for most normal office workers, the place where code kind of kicks in is in Excel. What is that formula? So here's a couple of examples that I had. One would be, what's the Excel, like this is an example. What's the Excel formula to check all the numbers in one column and add 50 to the value if it matches a specific cell from another? And so you could do that. You can just pop it in here. We'll ask Bard. Bard says it will crank out the answer here. And then you can see it gives you the formula. Here you go. If it's an if statement and it gives you the code snippet, you can copy that into your Excel or your Google Sheets or whatever you use. The other place I found this really handy, you can make it even more complicated or complex. Like it will do, this is a simple, those of you who are hip to the game with Excel, there's something called a VLOOKUP type file where you can have it find one cell and then look up in a whole column of data and find the cell and find something next to it. So what's the formula in Excel where if I enter the information into cell D2, it will find the value in column A and show me the value in column B. So you can ask this, let's just try ChatGPT. We'll drop that in the chat. And in Excel, you use the VLOOKUP file, and then it actually gives you the code. So I told it D2, look up A, give me the results for B. So you could actually copy and paste this code and look this one up. And this, in theory, should work. So the more specific you are with your request, the more specific the results of the code it will give you can be. So you don't have to talk in generalities. You can actually, even if it can't see your spreadsheet, if you tell it, look up the value in this cell, A2 or A3, you can use it that way. So it's been really handy for Excel formulas. Number 4, improve language for a phrase or an email. So I use this all the time for, I need to kick around ideas. I need titles for something. I need ideas for something. I need a meeting name that's kind of catchy. I'm trying to engage with a client and I want to do something. So I need a catchier phrase for let's go win this game. So you could start in Bard and I'm going to say, I can just, let me go back and just copy that whole thing. The phrase is, I need a catchier phrase for let's go win this game. I'm doing something for the PTA or something for the kids' school or something, and I want to do that. So here I need a catchier phrase for let's go win this game. It's going to spin out a bunch of ideas for, look at this, let's take this one home. We're going to go crush them. Let's show them who's boss. We're on a roll. So it just gives you ideas, which I love. It's really helpful to do that. And then from there, we can keep leveling it up. We can give it instructions on top of instructions. So I'm going to go back to that same place and I'm going to say, okay, make it rhyme. And then it's going to take that phrases. It's going to take those phrases and you're going to see that now computers aren't really good at rhyming necessarily, but they do pretty well. So we're going to win. We're going to reign. We're going to show them that we're the best today, we're on a roll, we're unstoppable. Or this one, it gave me a little poem. We're going to win, we're going to score, we're going to leave them feeling sore. We're on a roll, we're unstoppable. So, I mean, it'll do things like that. And for me, finding the rhyming words that fit in the phrase are the part that's really helpful for me. So that's just ideas. And so oftentimes I will ask it for ideas. It'll give me a bunch. And then from that, I'll be able to take, ooh, I like that from that one, that from that one. And it creates a result that I can use, which is awesome. So it makes the brainstorming part or improving language for a phrase or email great. And oh, by the way, number 5, it can proofread emails for you. So it's basically like Grammarly or products like that, where they will review your what you've written, but ChatGPT doesn't cost anything. So here's one. I found this, I was looking on the internet and I found this example of something that you might get from like some kind of spam person or something. They're really bad at grammar normally. So here's this phrase. And it says, hi, sir, I'm from, whatever this marketing, it's got misspellings, it's got that kind of stuff. So I can go, let's go over to ChatGPT and I'll just say, please improve the language and correct the grammar in this email. And I'll drop it in. Hi, sir, madam. Oop, nope, not that one. So I've got my own little thing going. Here you go. So you can see it said that. And then here it is. It's already spitting it out. You can say, dear sir, I represent a contact article marketing company. And so you can see that it not only did it fix the incorrect language, it used a comma instead. The $ was in the wrong place. You can see that it fixed this stuff. It changed this. If you're interested, there you go. And then you can, from there, I could also do like, all right, make it shorter, shorter and more to the point. And so now it's going to do it again, only now it'll make it even shorter. So here's a shorter version of it. And I could do things like make it more formal or make it more casual. Let's say I don't need it to say, "Dear Sir," I can make it more casual. So then it will crank it out. "Hey there." Now it's a much more casual language, and it will do this kind of stuff, and also fixing the grammar and that kind of stuff. So it's been really helpful that way with proofreading emails. For me, I don't use it for all my emails, but if I'm emailing someone that is above me or 2 levels above me or 3 levels above me, I will sometimes drop it in there just to correct that stuff and make sure that it reads better, because I'd reread it to make sure my language worked anyway. Number 6.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah, Jason.
A quick, maybe, and maybe you're going to get to this at some point, but I really like, starting. One thing I've been successful with is starting with a seed like that, and if you want to expand on it, it can help you expand a little bit, which has been helpful for me. So like if I have a seed for an email or some type of, a post and copy or something, and you utilize, a beginning stage like that, you can also ask it to expand, and it will do it on its own, or you can provide a little bit of additional context and ask it to utilize that to expand, which is one thing for me that's been helpful. And using those seeds to kind of start something that maybe is a little bit longer document or longer email or longer copy or something. And so that's actually really helpful. And that way, it helps you be more creative and utilize that function to, get more information across. And so while, yes, it's great at simplifying, it's also great at expanding as well, which is one thing I've had good success in.
So smart, Jason. I like that. Thanks for chiming that in. And just to show people, so it references, I am a content article marketing company. So I'm going to say include information on what a content article marketing company is. And now it'll rewrite it again, and it will include a little bit more information about what that is. And so that's kind of to Jason's point about expanding on it or whatever. Add information about this, add information about this. And you started with the basic and added to it. So smart, Jason. I like that a lot. Yeah, good point. So I've kind of showed you number 6, which is not only is it proofreading emails, but it's also rewording emails in language to make the writing clearer or shorter or more casual or more formal. You can ask it to do that with the language that you provide to start, and it will keep rewriting it and keep rewriting it and keep rewriting it for you. Number 7, brainstorm ideas. Creative ways to find good candidates for this job. So this is one of those things, if you're let's see, if you're looking for, all right, I'm looking for a candidate for this kind of job. You're in HR, you're a boss, and you've got to find somebody. So we can go creative ways to find good candidates for a project manager role. And it'll just give you ideas. So you can use it as your brainstorming buddy. So it'll give me, here's one, so it'll crank out, here's host a hackathon. It gives you idea, reach out to your personal and professional network, social media, job fairs. So it'll help you come up with ideas or brainstorming. Here's another one, good interviews, good interview questions for a candidate interviewing for this job. You're working at a role and you need it to provide interview questions. Here's another one. Let me just copy this, copy the link URL here. You can also copy, if you're referring to something, go to this page and do this. And I'm going to show you more of this here. Whoop, I thought I had a specific, pardon me just a second. Let's go like this. Let's go project manager. I'll show you what I mean with, let's say I find a role on here that's a project manager role here. So this is a project manager role. We can click this, and this is a way for you to, so let's see if it'll give me something here. I can take this URL and I can drop it in here, and then it will give me some interview questions. So you're trying to get ready for that. So tell me about a time you had to deal with a difficult client. What's your experience with project management software? Because it's a software job. So if the link didn't work, you could copy and paste the whole listing from there into the prompt that you ask. So from Monster, you could just copy and paste this whole thing, all of this, and drop it into Bard if the link didn't work or there wasn't a way to link to it, or you see something on LinkedIn, you could do the same thing. So that's another example right there. Or the one I just ran into this week. It was like, gosh, I wonder if there's a trademark for this thing. Searching the trademark stuff with the government, if you go to the Patent Trademark Office website, is a little bit of a nightmare. But you can actually just turn to Bard is a little better at this than ChatGPT, I found, because ChatGPT only goes through information through 2021. So it doesn't always current, but you could always ask, is there a trademark for the phrase, I don't know, I'm Batman, or something like that. And you can ask a question. And then what it will do is, based on the information it knows, it'll go out there and you can say, yes, look at that. Yes, there's a phrase trademark that's owned by DC Comics, the Batman character. However, it gives you a little bit of context or information about that. So obviously, if you're going to make big decisions with this information, I would go vet it. I'd go look up this information. I would ask it, can you provide a link where I can see that? Let's see if it does that. And it's going to, it might provide a link or it might not. I'm not sure if it likes, yeah. So this is one where it kind of backed out of that one. It doesn't help you with a link. So if you're going to make decisions that your company or your job or anything important are based on, make sure you vet that information. Find me a template. I need a template for a fun party. There's templates for everything. I need a template for an Eventbrite description of a fun, cool party or office party, or insert whatever it is you're looking for. Here's some information. Look at that. You can just copy and paste this out of there. You can tailor the language based on you. You can do this. Tickets are limited. So it gives you ideas, right? It's a template. It's a starting point, but it's got templates for everything. And so you don't have to spin your wheels trying to figure out, what do I need to write or start from scratch? You can ask for a template for just about anything in here.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
What one cool feature about Bard that is newer, if you were to ask Bard that, you now have the opportunity to export directly to Google Docs and Google Sheets.
Nice.
So you can ask it for some of those templates, and then on the bottom it should give you an option to actually export it.
Sure. There's a description. There it is. And you can see, looks like there's more. You can copy this language, or you can export the response. That's what he's talking about. So you can export to Docs, or you can draft in a Gmail. So you can pull it right out. Brilliant. Smart. Yeah, Jason. Nice. So a little advantage to Bard there. If you're a Google user, that's going to be handy. If you're an Outlook user, maybe just copy the text, but either way, it's not hard to pull stuff out of there. Find a regulation, law, or policy. I do this all the time when I'm looking for what is the policy or the law or the whatever. The government is notorious for just putting out a big law book, right? Oh my gosh, Virginia law. Where does it say something? You know that there's a law, you heard it from somebody, some lawyer friend told you something, and you're trying to find it. I use this all the time for government rules and regs. I've worked with the government for years. And so finding the information is half of the challenge. So this is where I could do something like, I can just type in, is there a law that says you can't let your tree hang over onto your neighbor's property in Virginia? And so it will go out and it will find it. And I believe it'll probably give a code reference to what it finds. So look, you can actually look up code 8.01-143. So I would remember, always go look up and double check what it gives you if you're going to use it. But This is what the law says according to it, which is no person shall permit any tree, branch, or vine to hang over, extend into another project without the owner of the other land's consent. So it gives you information and additional context on that, which is, oh man, finding this stuff, something happens, there's a parking ticket, you got a question about that, you've got a question about your office, something comes in with a trademark, there's an issue about a dispute, you can look for a starting point on where to find the answer. It's a great place to do that. Better than just a normal web search, I found. Number 10, what's the term and condition language I should insert into this contract? So here, like I could do something like this. If you're in the private sector or you're creating content, or oftentimes people don't necessarily have language that they have from their attorney. Hopefully you do if it's a big deal. But if you're just looking for some sort of term or something, what's the term? Contract that. So I can just kind of modify this language real quick. And you can go like this, to not be held liable in the event of a mistake during performance. All right, so here's term and condition. And what it's going to do is it'll spit out what the language is you can start. And it gives you a place. So this is example language that you could use if you're looking for that. So that's great. Thanks, Alicia. Absolutely. Thanks for joining. And then the last one.
Hey, Brian.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. One other useful tool along with that, like the legal, contract language or kind of more legal language, is the opposite. If you have a legal document, now I always say whether or not you want to share your personal information, but if you have a general lease agreement, right, that is general, and before you sign it, if you don't understand something that's in there, you can copy and paste it in that and ask it to provide you the nomenclature or like the general as a more readable normal person summary of that language, so you can understand some of those documents, which is super helpful. So kind of the opposite of your number 10 there. That's always helpful.
Oh, brilliant, Jason. Yep, exactly. It works the opposite way too, which is so true, right? You get these long 35-page lease documents. Can you give me a short summarized version of this? Or Airbnb, you're going to rent one of those for the family, or some kind of lease something. If it helps you to understand it or gets you, remember, it's 80-20, right? It's going to get you 80% of the way there. It's not going to do it completely for you. But if that helps you make it further, I'm with you, Jason. Yep, absolutely. All right. And the last one, create an engaging social media post. This is one I use all the time because if you follow Productivity Gladiator, I also host a podcast. I have some really cool people that come on the show. And part of it is the social media posts afterwards for an episode. So what you can see here is this is creating engaging social media posts. This was a really cool episode that I had with Brian Glass about a billable hours lifestyle. And so I can just say, create an engaging social media post. I don't tell it what it's about, right? You're going to see me. All I'm going to do is just drop the link and the information into ChatGPT. And then it's going to go down and you'll see it talk billable hours, life balance, and the secrets to achieving passable income tailored for lawyers. So you can see that it actually went to the page. It pulled out some of the information and it gave you a start. Again, this is a start. I tailor this stuff after I see it, but I also drop it in all that, like I can hear it, and here it is in Bard. Bard will give you a different answer than ChatGPT might. But again, this is going for, here's your starting place. Can you copy this? So here's a headline, here's a body, listen to the episode. Here's some hashtags that it recommends. So all of that stuff is great. So there it is, 11 ways that even a normal office worker can be using AI right now to help them be more productive. Let me stop this recording here real quick. And again, I'm Brian Nelson Palmer. I'm with Productivity Gladiator, and I would love to talk with you. Thanks for subscribing and checking this stuff out, because I love sharing cool tips that are very practical for helping you be more productive.